Hello there, Ray here, and today guys, I'd like to present to you an armor sorter using a new 1.15 feature. This machine uses a lot of cool mechanics and will allow you to put in a chest full of random items and it will end up sorting all the armor pieces separate from everything else. Now in the past, it used to be possible to have zombies sort out armor. This was done by using a mechanic where zombies would try to take on armor that is better. So if I would give this zombie a normal diamond chest plate, he would pick it up. And he does have the pickup loot tag, so he's able to hold armor. And then let's say I give him something that's a little bit nicer. So I'll give him this armor here, which has protection 4 on it. And it is enchanted. And you can see the zombie is not picking it up. Now in the past, the zombie used to try to go for these better enchanted armor, and he would drop his current set to pick up any type of enchanted set. And the zombies would also take any damage armor over any armor that was non-enchanted or any armor that was enchanted. So armor piece like this, which is damage, he would actually put on and he would drop the previous armor pieces that he had, even if they were enchanted. Now all this changed in 1.13. Essentially this broke armor sorting using zombies. This was a really cool way to sort out armor, and this is how we are sorting our Protection 6 diamond helmets on the ProtoTech SMP server. Now it is also possible to get Protection 8 helmets in survival, and it is currently the best gear that you can obtain. And if you would like to learn more about how to get this in your very own survival world, we did a whole separate video covering that, which you can find linked below. So we lost this really cool way to sort out armor using zombies, but in this brand new snapshot it's now possible to easily sort armor once again, using a new feature that they added to the snapshot. This is the ability to dispense armor stands using dispensers. So if we go ahead and put some armor stands inside of a dispenser and we power it up, you can see it will put the armor stand, which is an entity, in front of the dispenser. And from here we can go ahead and have another dispenser which will dispense the armor onto the armor stand. So if we go ahead and power this dispenser, you can see the armor is now placed onto the armor stand. Using this new feature, we designed this really cool farm during our snapshot streams. Those are every Wednesday and Friday. So right when a brand new snapshot comes out, we open up a testing world where the viewers can join and discover new things about the snapshot. So make sure to follow me on Twitter as well as turn on your notifications here on YouTube. We always come across the strangest things during those snapshot streams. This machine will infinitely automatically sort out armor away from any other types of items that you have. Infinitely automatic just means that the machine can run for an infinite amount of time once started and won't need anything done to it by you. So you can just go ahead and start it up and just forget about it and it'll continue working. So we can go ahead and get this thing started. I'll just grab this chest here and I will put it here. This is where the input is. So all unsorted items will go into this chest right here, and I'm just going to replace it with our chest that has the pre-filled items, and you can kind of watch it working. So it's pulling items out of this chest and it is sorting them with the system over here. And it's actually sorting them out really fast. Once it comes to something that is armor, then it's using the armor stand to sort it. And you can see it's going through all sorts of weird items. Doesn't matter if they are stacked items, if they stack to 16, if they stack to 64. It can go ahead and sort all those out. You can see all the wide variety of items that we have put into the system. And yeah, when it comes across something that can go on to the armor stand, it works very quickly to sort it away. You can see we're getting just the last couple of items through the system. And there it is. Went ahead and sorted out all the armor. So right here is the chest of all items that were sorted that are stackable. So these are all things that can stack. So all these could be sorted out using a normal sorting system. Then over here we have the output for the non-armor, non-stackable items. So these are things that don't stack but are also not armor. Notice that shields are not considered armor, as you used to be able to put them onto armor stands, but they removed that. Also stuff like tools or swords aren't allowed to put on armor stands, which is kind of odd. Maybe they'll change in the future, but currently you can't do that. And then the last output chest is the chest here. This includes armor as well as other things that are considered armor. So you can see we got the armor pieces here. Also turtle shell helmets are considered armor as well as elytras. So those get sorted out. Doesn't matter what type of armor or how much durability is on it, it all gets sorted using this system here. So the way that the system works is we have a couple different sorters here. As the first thing we do is when the items are coming into the system, we first remove all non-stackable items. So these are items that you normally can't stack. So stuff that normally only stacks to stacks of 1. We first started out using this little sorter here. The way that this sorter works, as items come into this hopper, they'll come in there one at a time. And if it's an item that can be stacked up to 64 or 16, it'll put out a very low pulse, which won't be able to reach this. But if it's an item that's in stack all by itself, you can see it's put off enough power to go over here and come to this repeater, which will turn off this torch and allow the item to go down into this hopper. So this hopper here is normally locked, so when items come down, they normally get pushed right over into this chest here. And that's where you see all stack of items end up here. But when the system detects it being an item that only stacks by itself, it will release the item into this hopper, which will put it into this dispenser here. So we put a whole bunch of armor in there. You can kind of see how it's working. The armor is ending up down here, and it's ending up over here, and then it's being dispensed and put onto these armor stands. And once it's inside of this dispenser here, it will be detected by this comparator, and there's just a small clock here, which will activate both this dispenser, which will put the armor onto the armor stand, but only after powering this dispenser, which pushes down a new armor stand, as well as this piston here. So once it detects some armor piece in here, the power will can go around here and go up to this dispenser as well as this piston. And the piston is going to push the old armor stand off to the side. Then a new one will be placed right here in front of it. It's going to be placed up in the air. Then it's going to start falling downwards. And then just afterwards, we're going to put the armor piece onto that dispenser. And once the armor stand is pushed over here, it comes into a chamber where it can be broken. Now by breaking the armor stand, we will get both the armor stand as well as the armor. Now there's a lot of ways to destroy the armor stand, but we need a method which will allow the armor stand to be dropped as an item, therefore we can recycle it. Otherwise, you'll have to keep replacing the armor stand. The system would no longer be infinitely automatic. So methods like lava, as well as like fire, all destroy the armor stand, and pretty much everything else destroys the armor stand or uses up materials. Like if you had a dispenser with arrows, it's going to use arrows up trying to destroy this. So we have a skeleton which is shooting arrows, and the arrows are hitting the armor stand. So if we turn on the bounding boxes by pressing F3 plus B, you can see the arrows are being shot by the skeleton, and they're hitting this armor stand, which kills it instantly. When the armor stand dies, it also drops any armor that is on it. Now the reason why the skeleton is shooting is because he's actually trying to shoot this iron golem way over here. So skeletons naturally are aggressive towards iron golems, and you can see the iron golem is actually naturally aggressive towards the skeleton as well. He's trying to walk towards it. This is because they both can see each other, meaning that these red lines are in contact without anything obscuring them. Even stuff like soul sand, as well as if you had 8 layers of snow here, both of those allow mobs to see through them. So the skeleton can actually see right through this block, and he can also see right through his soul sand as well. Now this is something that has changed recently. By giving them this narrow area where they can see each other, they'll try to attack each other, and the skeleton, he'll try to shoot through it. Now if you do have 8 layers of snow, there's chances that the skeleton will shoot arrows and they won't make it through. So 7 layers works pretty good. You just want the snow layers to be high enough so that when the items break off, they can't land in that small gap there. Because you want to make sure to collect all items that come off of the system. Now even though these blocks look like they're completely filling up the entire area, there is area for the arrows to sneak through. As you can see, arrows can make it even past this and over here. And what we have over here is 2 columns of descending bubble columns, meaning that they are pulling entities down. So if I stand inside of this water, it'll pull me all the way down to the very bottom. And this pulling down effect will affect the arrows, causing them to be slightly pulled downwards. And therefore they won't be able to make it through this small gap on the other side. Now we did try this system without having the bubble columns here to affect the arrows, and there is a small chance that the skeleton can shoot through and hit the iron golem, even with a large distance between the two. And we can even check this golem's health. He's been here for quite a while because his health is still at 100, so he's never been hit by an arrow with this setup here. Now I did try it with just 1 bubble column here, and it was possible for him to shoot through it. So this little setup here allows us to infinitely automatically destroy any armor stands that come in the view of them. Now once the armor stands are down here and they are broken, we have a item sorter down here. So the item sorter is right here, and any item that is an armor stand will be sorted off and will be put down into this hopper here, which will put it down into this dropper. And then any other items will automatically be pushed over into this chest over here. So all your armor pieces and stuff are all going to end up here. Now when the armor stands get pushed over, they can kind of be broken in mid-air, and we don't want the items to fall on any ledges. So that's why we have kind of soul sand occupying all the space over here, and we only have a small slit so items can't land inside that little edge there. And if we put a block over here, items could land on top of this glass between the hopper and the glass. So we just remove that and just have another hopper here. So we can pick up all the loot that come off of them. And the armor stands are saved and recycled. So you can see that once they go into this dropper, And all the armor stands are saved and put into this dropper here, and they are recycled. So you can see this armor stand is shooting them out, and they're put into this bubble column here, which takes them back up and pushes them over into this hopper, and then this will refill this dispenser over here, which is the dispenser at the very beginning of the system, so we can constantly recycle the armor stands. And this circuit here, essentially every time there is items inside of this dropper here, it will activate this piston, which will push this observer up and allow it to create a clock, which will dispense all the items out of it. I seen the items were kind of getting stuck on the edge of the ice here, so I just moved the dropper a little closer to the water so they don't have any areas to get stuck on. And then went ahead and put some droppers over top of these hoppers just to reduce the lag. Now up here at the top, when it sorts out stackables from non-stackables, there is quite a few items in the game that are non-stackable. So like potions and honey bottle, like iron swords, that kind of stuff can also end up trying to be placed onto the armor stand. So when any of those items come through, we also have a system which can handle that as well. So what will happen is the item will be shot out by the dispenser and it won't be placed onto armor stands. So you might see some armor stands getting pushed over that don't have any armor on them. And this is when there is an item that gets dispensed. So we put something like potions inside of here. We can see what's happening. It's pushing armor stands through, but nothing's being placed on them as the item is instead getting picked up by this hopper here and it's being put into this chest over here. Now it is important that you make sure these chests don't fill up because if they do, then stuff can start backing up and break the system. So you can hook up like a disposal system which will just drop the stuff into lava if you don't want the systems to fill up. Now the reason why we have only one piece per armor or 0 pieces per armor before they're getting destroyed, because every item that comes through the dispenser, we don't know if it's going to be like a potion or a chest piece or like boots. So therefore we have to kind of treat it as if every item coming through a system is the same type of item. So let's say the entire system is just full of chest plates and you put one chest plate onto this armor stand. The next time when it tries to dispense it, it's not going to be able to put the chest plate onto it since there's already one there and it would end up being in this chest over here. So to avoid that, we have to make sure to send the armor stands off this system and get destroyed and put in a new one. So even when a potion comes through, we're just not sure what it is, and therefore we have armor stands that have nothing on them, which are getting destroyed over here. Now if you want to, the system can also sort out other things that can go onto armor stands. So stuff like carved pumpkins, creeper heads, as well as all different types of skulls, so like wither skulls as well as dragon heads, can be placed onto armor stands. But since these things are stackable, meaning that they can stack more than one, you can use a normal sorter, similar to like the sorters that we have right here, to sort them away from other items. So to lighten the load for this system, it's best that you would have these go through a normal sorter, rather than trying to send them through this system as it is slower than your typical item sorter. Now armor stands in survival don't have any arms on them, so you can't put any type of weapons or shields or anything like that. You can't do that in creative though. I really wish they would add arms onto these guys because they look kind of funny without them. And also allow it so that players can put stuff like swords and other tools, as there is a whole category of stuff in your creative menu which you think could go onto an armor stand. There's also a lot of swords and bows, and there's even like tridents and crossbows and shields which would look really cool being on an armor stand. And there's some things that also look like they could go into armor stands, such as like jack-o'-lanterns, but those will not go onto armor stand. Either will a normal pumpkin. It has to be a carved pumpkin. Now you could continue to make a armor sorter using the old method with zombies picking up armor, but every time you'd have to kill the zombie in order to get the armor off of it. As we've seen, the zombie won't even switch out his normal armor for enchanted armor, which may be considered a bug. So you'd have to have the zombie killed, get the armor, and then get a new zombie every time you want to sort off one piece of armor. This would be extremely slow as well as tedious, and would mean that the player would have to be in the area in order for zombies to spawn. Now with a system like this, you can actually put this into your spawn chunks, as all it includes is a skeleton shooting at an iron golem, which can be loaded in any entity processing chunk, meaning this will work in your spawn chunks, and all the redstone will also work in it as well. So if you have your storage system kind of close to spawn, you really shouldn't have your storage system in spawn chunks. You could always put this piece inside spawn chunks, and then just pipe over all the items which are non-stackable, which you can't sort out with a non-stackable item sorter, similar to what Gavin has showed you guys in the past. He's one of the ProtoTech members, and he made a really cool compact system to sort out all the major non-stackable items. I also worked with him in making a system to sort out almost every non-stackable item, so hopefully in the future I can show you guys that in a video. So first you do is send all your items through a typical item sorter, which would do anything that can stack. Then you would send it through like a non-stackable item sorter, which can do stuff like minecarts, boats, as well as like flint and steel. And then after going through all those, you can then put it through a system like this, which would pull all the armor off and put it into a separate chest. I really like that they added this mechanic with the armor stands being dispensed because this is much nicer than dealing with zombies. But you lose some cool features like what we used in our lightning farm, where we drop tons of items beside the zombie and he kind of sorts them by only taking the good ones out, being the armor pieces we want. Where in a system like this, you have to kind of put everything through hoppers and chests in order for it to be sorted, which would make trying to get a Protection 8 helmet very difficult compared to using zombies, as getting one of these glitched out helmets from a skeleton is as rare as 1 in 1 billion. It was a lot of fun designing this up during the stream, and thanks to everyone who joined during the build of this, including Feed and Fish, who helped me get the right levels so that the Iron Golem as well as the skeleton would see each other. And if you do miss out on a stream, you guys can always watch them later on. They are archived there on my Twitch channel. If you'd like to look at this build in more detail, I always provide the world downloads to the worlds down below in the description. Make sure to go ahead and leave a like as well as share this video with others so they can learn about a new method for sorting armor which is infinitely automatic. And I would like to thank you guys for watching. Bye bye!